Alright guys, this is pretty much finished, so I'm just going to give you a brief explanation and show you some examples. These washers, get them in pretty much any hardware shop. These will be the weights that I use to counterbalance the unit. Now, as you see it here now, it's pretty straight because there's nothing mounted on it. It does have a little bit of movement in it when I tilt, but the idea is when you're filming, you're not doing that motion deliberately. That's basically for when you're moving and you've got the camera mounted on there and you've got your weights mounted on here, that any movement that you make will be counteracted by your hand movements. Right. Say you've got the camera on there and for whatever reason something isn't quite centered and it's tilting off to the side like that. Well, in that situation, that's when you get these weights and you put the weights on the side and you should level it off. Now, I've just tightened this just to show you as an example. But when I loosen this, watch what happens. See? I'll just tighten it up again. I'll center that. Tighten it. Gonna bring it level. Now watch. See? Now the same thing happens on the nose, on the front. If you've got a camera which is back heavy because of the battery, so it won't be sitting horizontally, it'll be sitting like that. Again, I'll just tighten this. What I can do is add the weights to the front. You also have the option of moving that up higher. There's that wing nut. Now, obviously, all of this work is actually done before you start filming. So say you've got a camera which is tilting because the weight's tilting back like that. I'll just add these on there and I'll release the lock. See? And now it points down because obviously the weights are all on the forward end. Okay guys, this camera looks straight, right? Looks level, horizontal. The horizontals are exactly that, horizontal. The verticals are vertical. But as you can tell by the shakiness, I've actually got the handle fixed at the moment. There's a reason for that. Let me show you some. Release that. Now, See the tilt up in the corners here? That space and that space? That's because the batteries of this camera are on this side and it's actually making it tilt over. So what I was mentioning before about the counterweights, I've got two here. I've worked out that two of them gets it even. There you go. Still need a bit of practice using this. Okay, so there you have it guys, that's the complete finished unit. I mean, by all means, it doesn't mean that modifications won't be made as and when needed. And that is not as smooth and as free as a gimbal, but it certainly does the job. That controls the head and handle pivot, so I can actually have this fixed and turn the handle, but that's pretty much set as is. That controls the ball, tighten that, and it's solid. Of course, you've got your quick release up here, which is there. And that base is permanently attached to that. It's hard to do single-handed, but I can do it. There you go. Now the original idea was to have the base sitting in here and be able to slide back and forth and then locked in place with screws or bolts going through here. But that idea changed because obviously that got in the way of these. I didn't think about that when I designed it, did I? It looks good on paper, but in reality, not so much. This will also be trimmed down because it's going to be permanently there. It's going to be trimmed down so it's a lot smaller so it doesn't get in the way. But it's not going to be permanently fixed there because I do want to be able to shift this back, the whole platform back and forth. So instead of having the 2 pins fore and aft of the base plate that's mounted underneath the camera, I'm using the running rails. So that comes in and squeezes in just a little bit to hold the base plate tight. Down here you've got your front mount for your weights, and that has the butterfly washer on the front. Down the bottom you have your mounting for your side weights, and once they're on they'll be held in place with these elastic bands so they don't rattle, and that as well can also be shifted forward and backwards. So overall, I don't think I did too badly. But my favourite piece of all this, it's got to be the handle. I mean, look at it. Looks like a bought one.